Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I like to say, call halal, like how about Shema Mashiach Yahushai, right there. To say all praises to the Most High God, Yahweh, through his only begotten Son, Yahushai, who the Word, and he calls Jesus Christ, right? So it's the brother guy Sean coming at y'all with another sit down. The Lord willing, it's edifying and it feeds the flock. As you can see by the title of this video, this has been on my mind to do for a while now. That brothers understand the true importance of brotherhood and how important it is, and just gonna use a few scriptures to just demonstrate that topic, right? So this is the book of First John, chapter 4, verse 20. If any man say I love God and hateth his brother, he is a liar, right? If you say you love God and you hate your brother, you're a liar, right? And you're sinning against the Most High God, right? Because the Most High God literally gave you a commandment to love your brother. But if you hate your brother, but you're still saying you love God, then you're a liar. You don't love God. Because if you love them, you will be keeping his laws, statutes, commandments. But you're not. You hate your brother. And that's a sin, right? So it's important that we have the love of brotherhood. It's important that we love each other. Because we are the representations of the Most High to each other, right? As Israelites, we're supposed to love each other the way the Most High loves us, right? Flesh of my flesh and bone of my bone and all that, right? So, for he that loveth not his brother whom he have seen, how can he love God whom he have not seen, right? So if you can't even love the people in front of you, how are you going to love the Most High who's not in front of you, right? Something basic is that. Something basic is loving the brother next to you, right? The brother in front of you, the brother who you can love, the brother who you can give action to, right? If you can't even do that, how are you going to love the Most High who you haven't seen, right? So brothers and sisters, we gotta love one another. We gotta love one another, right? We gotta have fervent love for one another. We gotta have charity for one another, right? Because if we can't do it to one another, we can't even hope to do it to the Most High if we don't even love each other. That's like the first step, right? Loving each other is like the basic minimum, and then we move to the Most High, right? Well, the Most High is always first, but loving each other is like right there, and then there's the Most High up here, right? So I'm just gonna get the book of John, chapter 13, verse 35, right? This is the book of John, chapter 13, verse 35. By this shall all men know that ye are my disciples, if you love one another, right? And this is red letter. This is Christ speaking, right? By this shall men know that ye are my disciples, when you love one another, right? Christ says a good tree produces good fruit, and that's how that tree is known, right? By its fruits, right? So if we do say we're the disciples of Christ, right? Like we go out in the highways and byways and proclaim, right? We're Israelites, right? We're followers of Christ, right? If we do say we are his disciples, then we have to love one another. That's how it is going to be known that we're the disciples of Christ, right? In fact, let me get that in 1 John, right? We have to love one another, and not only do we have to say with our mouth, but we have to do it also, right? So this is the book of 1 John, chapter 3, and verse 18. My children, let us not love in word, neither in tongue, but in deed and in truth, right? Let's not just say we love one another, right? Let's do it. Let's live by it, right? People say action speaks louder than words. Well, if you're loving your brother, you wouldn't have to tell anybody. If you're living that, if your actions reflect that, you wouldn't have to tell anybody, right? People could just tell by your action, right? Cyrax as a man is known by his countenance, right? People could just tell by the way you look. People could just tell by the way you carry yourself, right? When your thoughts are towards like the ministry and the brotherhood, people could just tell, man. That's what we have to be about. We have to love our brothers. We have to love our brothers with our own flesh, right? Matter of fact, let me get that in Isaiah. What is that? This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 58, verse 7. Is it not to deal thy bread to the hungry, that thou bring the poor that are cast out into thy house? When thou seest the naked, thou cover him, and that thou hidest not thyself from thine own flesh, right? And thine own flesh is talking about the relatives, man, your relatives, huh? It's just basically talking about what Christ said in Matthew. Matthew 25, I believe, right? No, it's not 25. It is 25, Salaki. It's Matthew 25 and 34. That's basically talking about what Christ said in Matthew 25 and verse 34, right? When he said, naked and ye clothed me, hungry and ye clothed me, to the right hand servant and to the left hand servants, he told them that they didn't do it to him, right? That's basically talking about in Isaiah 58 and 7, right? We're supposed to take in the hungry, we're supposed to feed the poor, we're supposed to clothe the naked as our relative, because they're our relative, man. We're supposed to have that much love for another. We're supposed to look after one another, right? Because as it says in, I believe it's Amos, I'm not too sure, but I don't want to butcher the verse. But as it says, right, no nation loves us, so we have to gather ourselves together, right? We have to love each other because no other nation loves us, right? And we're being oppressed right now. We're being trodden down right now. Why would we make it that much harder for ourselves and make each other the enemy? The times where we should be coming together, we're making each other the enemy, and it's easier for the actual enemy to pick us off. It's easier for the actual enemy to destroy us, right? It's easier for the actual enemy to scatter us because we don't look at ourselves as brothers and sisters. We don't look at ourselves as flesh of my flesh. We look at ourselves as the op, right? Somebody to get a next lick off of. And that's not the case. We gotta have true brotherhood. We gotta have true love for each other, man. As scripture just says, it just lists examples of what brotherhood looks like, what love looks like, man. And it's actions. It's not just saying it, like I brought out in 1 John 3 and 18. It's not just saying it, right? It's actions. We have to love each other, right? So I'm just gonna get actually gonna get that in Matthew. So this is the book of Matthew, chapter 25, verse 34. Matter of fact, let me start at 31. When the Son of Man shall come in his glory, and all the holy angels with him, then shall he sit upon the throne of his glory, right? And before him shall be gathered all nations, and he separate them one from another, and divide as a shepherd divided the sheep from the goats. And he shall set the sheep on the right hand, but the goats on the left. Then shall the king say to him on his right hand, Come, ye blessed of my Father, and have the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. Verse 35, this is the point. For I was an hungered, and ye gave me meat, and I was thirsty, and ye gave me drink, and I was a stranger, and you took me in. Right? We're supposed to have that brotherhood for one another, because in as much as we do it to each other, we do it to Christ, because we are the body of Christ, right? Right? We are the body of Christ. So in as much as we do it to one another, we're doing it to Christ. And Christ is the representation of God. Right? So in as much as we do it onto each other, we're doing it onto the Most High. That's why I say we have to love each other, because we're the representations of the Most High God. Right? So in as much as we do it unto each other, we're actually doing it to the Most High, and we're doing it to Christ. So if we persecute each other, we're persecuting Christ. But if we love each other, we're loving Christ. That's what we have to do. We have to love each other, right? We have to clothe each other. We have to look after each other, because no other nation is going to do it, right? So we have to look after each other. And as much as we do it unto each other, we do it unto Christ, right? And ye took me in, naked, and ye clothed me, and I was sick. And ye visited me. I was in prison, and ye came to me, right? So that's just Christ reiterating Isaiah 58 and 7. And people say, oh, Christ came to not talk about the law. What are you in the prophets? What are you talking about, man? Verse 37. Then shall the righteous answer him, saying, Lord, when saw thee in hunger, and fed thee, or thirsty, and gave thee drink? When saw thee a stranger, and took thee in, or naked, and clothed thee? Verse 39. Or when saw thee sick, or in prison, and came unto thee? Verse 40. And the king shall answer and say unto them, Verily I say unto you, inasmuch as ye have done it unto the least of these my brethren, ye have done it unto me. Right? So that goes back to what I was saying earlier. Inasmuch as we persecute each other, or inasmuch as we love each other, we do it unto Christ, which Christ is the representation of the Most High God. Right? So we do it. So when we love each other, right? That goes back to 1 John 3 and Salakia, 1 John 4 and 20, right? That's where it goes back to, right? How can we love the Most High whom we haven't seen if we can't even love our brother, right? Because in as much as we do it onto our brother, we're doing it onto the Most High. And if we can't even love our brother, we can't even hope to love the Most High, right? And verse 40, and the king answered and said unto them, Verily I say unto you, inasmuch as ye have done it unto one of the least of these my brethren, ye have done it unto me. Verse 40, then shall he also say to them on the left hand, Depart from me, ye cursed, into everlasting fire, prepared for the devil and his angels. For I was hungered, and ye gave me no meat, and I was thirsty, and ye gave me no drink, and I was a stranger, and you took me not in, and naked, and ye clothed me not, right? Sick, and in prison, and ye visited me not. So that goes back to being a liar. If you don't love your brother, if you say you love God, but you hate your brother, right? You don't love the Most High. Because if you actually loved your brother, you'll be doing these things which Christ lists off. You'll be feeding him, you'll be clothing him, you'll be visiting him, right? You'll be giving him drink, right? But you only say you love God, right? Not in your actions. We have to be doers and not hearers only. You can't just hear about love, right? Matter of fact, let's get that in James. That's the book of James, chapter 2, verse, I'm going to start at verse 15. Verse 15, if a brother or sister be naked and destitute of daily food, and one of you say unto them, Depart in peace, be ye warmed and filled, notwithstanding ye give them not those things which are needful for the body with of a profit, right? So it's saying, basically, the carnal aspects of saying you love the Most High but hating your brother, right? So if a brother or sister comes to you and saying, I'm hungry, bro, can you spare $1? And you just be like, may the Spirit of God be with you, be filled, be ye whole, and you just tell him to walk off. He's gonna walk off, but he's still gonna be hungry. Do you actually love your brother when you just told him that? Now, if you actually don't have anything to give him, and you tell him that, that's fine. But if you actually have something to give him, and that's all you do for him, do you actually love your brother? Right? You have the ability to feed him, you have the ability to clothe him, but you don't do it. Right? He's not gonna be whole. He's gonna go and he's gonna still be hungry. But if you have the ability to feed him, right? If you have the ability to clothe him, to give him drink, you don't do it, you're a liar. Because love is not words, love is action. If you loved him, you would have actually gave him something to drink. You would actually gave him something to eat, something to nourish him, right? That's what we actually gotta do. We can't just say we love one another and not show it. Right? People are gonna be looking at you funny. You're gonna be called a hypocrite. Well, you love your brother. All right, show it. Where's your action? What have you done to show that you love your brother? You haven't done anything. You haven't showed any proof. You haven't brought forth any fruit, right? If you're a good tree, where's your fruits? Where's your good fruits? Where's your sweet and tender fruits? You don't have any, right? So we got to get out of that mindset of just saying we love a brother. We got to actually do it, right? Because in as much as we do it onto each other, we're doing it to Christ. We're doing it to the Most High. That's how we show love. Right, Israel is a representation of the Most High to the other nations, not only to the other nations, but each other. Right, we're supposed to exemplify how to live to each other and to the other nations. Right, we're supposed to make them the name of the Most High's name of praise on the earth. Right, but if we're out here killing each other, if we're out here destroying each other, right, they're gonna say, oh, that's the people the Most High chose. They're wicked. They're wicked. Right? We're gonna be treading mud on the Most High's name. We can't do that. We have to be exemplary, right? We have to be perfect as our Father is perfect. That way we can earn our Father a perfect name, a perfect record. That's how we live, right? We can't hate each other. We can't just say we love each other. We have to be perfect. We have to be doers of the word, right? So, I'm gonna go back in Matthew 25, right? For I was hungered, and ye gave me no meat, and I was thirsty, and ye gave me no drink. And I was a stranger, and ye took me not in, and ye clothed me not. Sick and in prison, and ye visited me. Verse 44, then shall they also answer him, saying, Lord, one saw thee and hungered, or athirst, or a stranger, or naked, or sick, or in prison, and did not minister unto thee. Right? Verse 45. Then shall he answer them, saying, Verily I say unto you, inasmuch as ye did it not to one of the least of these, ye did it not to me. Right? So you keep realizing that Christ saying the least of these. Right? So it doesn't matter what stature of brother is in need of help. It doesn't matter if he's the greatest among us or if he's the least among us. He's still a brother. We have to help him regardless, right? So it doesn't matter what stature you have, what rank you have, or whatnot, right? The least of the brothers, you still have to do these two, right? Oh, he's beneath me. I'm not gonna help him. Nah. Christ came not to be a king, but to minister unto people, right? Christ, the greatest among us, made himself the lowest among us and washed his disciples' feet, right? To be an example onto us of how we should live. So we can't be out here saying, oh, nah, he's beneath me. I can't help him. I can't even look at him. He's beneath me. I'm not going to spend my time on him. But what if Christ had that same spirit about you? And he would be right in doing so. He's beneath me. I'm not going to go die for him. Let him die for himself, right? We can't be like that. We have to have charity and compassion on our people, man. We have to have brotherhood. See, and everything is that exemplified by the way Christ lived if we just pay close enough attention. Christ lived a life that we should be exemplifying, right? Christ lived a life that we have to live now also, right? He did no sin before the Most High, right? He loved his brothers. He was humble, right? He was meek, right? And people think meek just means shy. No, meek in terms of towards the Most High, right? You have to know your place towards the Most High, right? When Christ was in that garden, right? He humbled himself before the Most High because he really didn't want to die for us. And he asked the Most High to take the cup, but he humbled himself back and took it back. He said, you know what? It's your will be done, Father. He humbled himself and realized that and realized his role in the bigger picture, right? And that's what we have to do also, right? We have to just examine the life that Christ lived and emulate that, right? So, verse 45, then shall he answer them, saying, Verily, I say unto you, inasmuch as ye did it not to one of these, ye did it not to me, right? And these shall go into everlasting punishment, but the righteous into life eternal, right? So, as simple as that. We know what everlasting punishment is, that lake, right? We know. And we know that life eternal is that rulership, right? So, if you want that rulership, man, start showing true brotherhood. Start exemplifying the scriptures. Stop just talking about what you want to do and start doing it, right? Stop talking about how you want to live and live it, right? So you have to actually live the scriptures, right? Give me a second. Yeah, I brought that out. All right, let's go to James 2:9. Right. So this is the book of 1 John, chapter 2, verse 9. He that saith he is the light, Salakia, he that saith he is in the light and hateth his brother is in darkness even still. Right? So if you're out here proclaiming, I know me and my brothers, when we go out and teach, we say we're the children of the light. Right? If we're in the light, right, but we hate our brother, are we really in the light? No, we're in darkness even still. We're just fooling ourselves to think that we're in the light. Nah. We have to actually be in the light. We have to actually deliver fruits of children that befitting of children that are in the light, right? So when we're in the light, we hate our brother, we're already sinning. We already have darkness in our heart. So we can't be children of the light. We can't be in the light if we have darkness, right? Not to saying you can't battle those things, right? Not to say when those things come up, you can't battle those things and fast for those things. But if that's continually in your heart and you're not doing nothing about it and you're constantly feeding it, then you're children of darkness, man. You're not in the light yet, right? But yeah. So that's the lesson I have for brothers and sisters. I hope it was edifying and it brings a little bit clarification on the scriptures, right? And gives a little bit more understanding of the importance of brotherhood, right? We have to love each other. Nobody else will love us. So we have to love ourselves, right? No other nation loves us. No other nation cares for us, right? I remember my mother used to tell me, or He used to say to me when I was a kid, right? Nobody's gonna love you like I love you. Because she was a bone of my bone, she was my kinfolk. Nobody's gonna love us like we love each other, right? And we have to love each other because nobody else will love each other. Nobody else will love us. Nobody else is gonna take a look at us, right? When it's really time to get down, right? When it's really time to get down and these race wars start popping off, nobody else is gonna stick up for you, right? Only your people and the Most High. That's it. And in them days, you better hope the Most High is on your side. And how do you get the Most High on your side? By keeping the law, statutes, and commandments, and having faith in who the world calls Jesus Christ, whose real name is Yahweh Shai, right? And that's how you even have a chance, and that's how, not even guaranteeing that you make it, but that's how you even have a chance to make it out, by doing the best you can, right? By making your calling and election sure, right? One of those laws is to love your brother. But if you're out here hating your brother, giving them the stank eye, right, you're already breaking it. And as I just read in 1 John 2:9, if you say you love your brother, right? If you say you love your brother, if you say you're in the light, Salakia, but you hate your brother, are you really in the light? And you have to cross-examine yourself, right? So with that, I hope brothers and sisters have been edifying. I hope this lesson brings clarification or sheds some light into some of the questions that y'all had, right? And it builds y'all up in the spirit, man. Right? We're not long for this place, so we just gotta endure a little bit more. And Lord willing, the Most High will deliver us very, very soon, right? So with that, I just want to say, call Allah, how about Shema Shaki Shai, and Abab the Ball.